Hello everyone, my name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. I react to video game music for the first time. As a musician myself, today is the return of Touhou. I think it's two different games, right? 10, yep. I don't normally do this, but I guess we'll see what's up. This is Touhou 10.5 Scarlet Weather Rhapsody, Heaven of Scarlet Perception. And then that is followed up by Touhou 12.3 Unthinkable Natural Law, Did You See That Shadow? Alright. That's about all I know. I wonder why these are connected, or if they're connected, in what kind of way. This is from the channel Touhou Forum Tunes, requested by Super Krim. Thank you very much. Well, it's Touhou. I like Touhou music. I'm expecting some speed, maybe some zumbits. But I think there might be some violin here, from what I read. Let's see. Heaven of Scarlet Perception. Ooh, it's animated. Cool channel. Cherry blossoms? Whoa, that does not sound like Touhou. I know that sounds weird to say so early on, but it's like... Usually Touhou kind of gives me like a... They blow through the door right away, so let's see what happens here. This is unbelievably different so far. It sounds so grown up. Is this meant to sound more of like traditional Japanese? That melody sounds extremely Touhou, but only the melody. I wonder if it's used somewhere else. Very beautiful. Is this a remix? Remix album, maybe? Let me see this information here. There was something about the violin. Let me see. Da, 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 da. Oh, from one of the 2D fighting games, where Zun partners with another group of devs known as Tassafro. The violin is known as Jun, as an iconic sound to these games. Fighting game, huh? Can you guys let me know if I've heard of Touhou fighting game before? Yeah, I have no idea. I feel like I've heard this before. It's so different. My gosh. So cool though. I like that percussive bell. I think there's a wood block in there too. Wow. I'm kind of shocked. I don't know what to say. And it's almost over. Holy moly. You know what this song is perfect for? To like throw someone off. If you ever were to do like a video game trivia or something, just throw that in there. No one will ever guess it's Touhou. At least I wouldn't. I don't know. But I'm just, an outsider. Shout out to Tarvel's Quest, who's holding down the video game music trivia on his channel. Okay. If for some reason this is your first video that you're watching of me and you're a Touhou fan, hello. I've done a lot of videos for the series. There's a playlist. So my experience with Touhou is probably what you think it is, counter melody galore, fast percussion, fast piano, slow trumpet lead, and a lot of earworm. I know it's a bullet hell. I know it's just some of the coolest music I've heard has come from Touhou. Right, I just featured them in my boss themes. Actually, Touhou's been in the VGM Vibes series a couple times. I put it in the Fire episode and the boss themed episode with Flight of the Bamboo Cutter, and also Owen was her. So I definitely am aware of the sound it does. And I have heard through the grapevine, doing this for a couple years now, that Touhou has like other games. I have heard somewhere about the fighting game or fighting games. I don't know if there's more than one. So I think this might be the first time I've heard music from one of those. But let me know if I have. You guys would know more than I. Let me know if I've checked out fighting game music too, especially Touhou as well. Like Touhou's so convoluted with remixes and fan mixes. I think fan made games as well. So it's hard to keep track of what's what and what's official, what's not. But that was totally different, right? If this is your first time hearing a Touhou song and you're not even a Touhou fan, you're just jumping on to see what I'm listening to. I don't know if this is controversial to say, but that doesn't sound like Touhou music, and that's not a bad thing. But if you were to listen to something else, you'd be like, whoa, okay, that's not what I was expecting. That's what I'm getting at. It's so different. I would never guess that's Touhou. It's beautiful, and it's wonderful, actually. But despite all that, when the main melody kicks in, it does sound like Touhou. They do a lot of that single note melody thing that sounds like Touhou stuff. As soon as that came in, all of a sudden I could hear it on a Zenpet, and I could hear the intro arpeggio that's all slow. I could hear that. Actually, you know what? Let's do that right now. Now that I said that, I want to hear this. I'm going to speed this up. What does it sound like normally? All right, when does the melody come in? Right there. All right. It's experiment time. I'm gonna go to max speed 1.5. Let's see if it sounds like more traditional Touhou that I know. Yeah, kinda. Alright, let's go forward. I mean, I'm just being silly, but kinda. I mean, it's similar. It's similar. But obviously this sounds more, I don't know, I don't want to say professional. I don't want to say, it just sounds more properly recorded. It doesn't sound like all MIDI and electronic instruments. It sounds like people, like a group of people. And it's nice to hear that way, because as soon as you hear stuff like that for the first time, you start to imagine, like, ooh, what would this sound like live, with an orchestra or something, or even just a couple people up there. That would be so cool, actually. And I'm pretty sure, based on the amount of Touhou fans in the world there are, that would probably do very well sales-wise. So if you're out there and you put together video game music tours, maybe Touhou might be something to consider. Because Touhou, to me, seems like the most underground, famous thing there is. I don't know how else to put that. Every time Touhou gets mentioned, there's like a a sprout of people that come out of like the ground. They're just like, Touhou? It's so popular, and yet people don't know about it. I think that makes sense. Anyways, that was beautiful. I don't know what the hell is happening here. Let me know what is happening. Is this a character theme, or does this even have any elements of bullet hell in it? This is so different for me. It's bizarre. This is gonna make it more confusing because it's paused right now, and I still see cherry blossoms. This is 12.3. I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but I think out of the hundreds, if not thousands, of comments I've got in Touhou videos, I think the numbered point something is not a mainline game. Something like that. So let me know. Is this also a fighting game? Or is it something else? This is Did You See That Shadow? From Touhou 12.3 Unthinkable Natural Law. Let's go. Let me make sure the speed is correct. Okay. Okay. Musically, again, we're in the same kind of realm. It's cool hearing Touhou music like this. I've always wondered, you know, where else it could go. Because it is a little one-dimensional. And I don't mean that in a mean way. It just is. It's really cool hearing it like this. You can hear the technical aspect of music here. Little snare rolls. Got the same melody? I think it is. I think it is. I feel like I've heard that melody somewhere else. Like in another Touhou song. Okay. Ooh, a little shimmer. Okay, so I think I see why these were paired together. But they have a different name now. Some kind of callback, maybe a character, same character, different theme, that kind of thing. I can't wait for you guys to all nerd out over this. Oh, the bell. It really is nice hearing Touhou in another light. It's after hearing it kind of the same way for 2 years, 3 years. It's nice, you know, it's nice. It like went from a teenager to a grown man kind of thing. This is Touhou with a suit on. Some gaiters. This is actually why I love video game music so much. When you take it out of its video gamey kind of sound, it's just beautiful music. You know? Not too long ago, I told a story in, it was a Kingdom Hearts video for Vector to the Heavens, and I'll keep it brief. I was just at a diner once, listening to music as I always do. I always have my AirPods in when I'm outside, and you know, I'm kind of one of those people that I don't really care how people perceive me outside. So I'm always like, I'm not like jamming out like crazy, but I'm always like, got my head moving. You know, I'm listening to stuff. I'm just in my own world, and this older gentleman came up to me. He's like, "Sounds like you're really Well, you said something, and I was like, wait, hold on, what? And I had to like mute it. I was like, what? He's like, sounds like you're really enjoying that. I'm like, oh yeah. You know, and immediately wanted to be like, oh well, it's this, but he was like 70 something years old. He's not gonna know what the hell Kingdom Hearts is. But I just said it. I was like, screw it. I'm not gonna like make something up. I was like, oh, it's actually it's video game music from a game called Kingdom Hearts. It's called Vector to the Heavens. And I was curious because I'm like, he's older. I wonder if he'll like this because it's cool. It's got like that orchestral thing. And he's like, huh, really? I'm like, yeah, you should listen to it. It's actually, you might actually like it. It's probably not what you're thinking it is. And he pulled up his phone and he just immediately was like, oh wow, blah blah. This is really really good. Anyways, what I'm getting at is I always think about stuff like this and how your day-to-day people that don't listen to video music or your elderly crowd, whatever, people who have a stigma idea of what video game music sounds like, which I'm not gonna lie, Touhou music normally does have a very video gamey sound. There's no denying that, but that's cool, right? That's its identity. There's a lot of music, if not all of it, maybe 99% of it, if it was done in a more traditional way. Not that I'm wanting to hear it that way, but it'd be funny to see a lot of people's reactions to, oh, this is from a video game? Because at the end of the day, it's just music. It's just notes. It's melodies put together over chords with percussion. It's music, right? It's music. And to me, it's always been this kind of like, the reason I like video game music is because it kind of like pushes the boundaries of music a little bit. It does weird, wacky things, like put in trumpets and fast pianos. But when you strip that back to its core, it's just melodies. And there's something really beautiful about that, Because in a way, it's like, I don't know. I feel like I would love to show this to someone who doesn't care about video music. Get their opinion on it. They're gonna like it because it's good, and then go home and listen to like the super sped up version in the real game and be like, yeah, there's something about like kind of not gatekeeping it, but like, oh, if they only knew, I don't want to have to explain it to them. I don't want to have to justify why it's cool. It's just thoughts that go through my head all the time. But since I've experienced it kind of once in person, then it's just, I think about this kind of stuff. Anyways, Touhou is beautiful for that reason. And the reason why, despite all sounding a lot alike, and I've said this before, and I haven't been scared to say it because it's true. You shouldn't be like afraid of kind of backlash. Touhou fans know this. If you say something sounds the same, typically I think anywhere else people would be like, what do you mean by that? Like, I don't think any Touhou fan's gonna argue that a lot of the music sounds like almost identical. But that's why it's sick. Touhou is Touhou for a reason. I almost said tofu. And that's what you have to think about. Like, why does it make it tick? Why does it have millions of fans? That's why. There's that certain crowd of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That kind of thing. They don't. They keep it. And so for me to hear like this kind of deviation of its musical construct, it's nice. It's nice, and it's a different way to appreciate it. It's not that I like it better or worse. It's just the musician in me is like, oh, okay, that was very nice. But one thing came to mind over and over. Two things came to mind. One, I feel like I've heard this melody. That could just be what I just said of maybe a lot of the songs sound the same. But I feel like I've heard that melody before. And that also reminds me of another song, which I can't think of right now. Hopefully I remember to do this and put it in the comments. But that main melody of this one, that was also in the first song, sounds like a song that's in Wild Arms, PlayStation RPG game that I really love the soundtrack to a lot. I can't remember the song name, but there's a song with the same, almost identical melody, lead melody. I'll try to find it. But yeah, it's really similar. Anyways, that's kind of really all I got. Let me know what's happening here in these games. What is significant about that motif? just tell me whatever you want. Touhou always brings up cool conversations. So thank you to Super Cream, and I enjoyed those quite a bit. I really like hearing the violin. You know, it's a different take on trumpet quite a bit. So thank you. And speaking of thanks to everyone you see on screen. I couldn't be here without them. Patreon members and YouTube members as well. Thanks to you for watching. My name is Jesse in the auditorium. Take it easy.